Hello, my name is Miss Nancy, and I'm going to tell you a story about the hare and the tortoise. Long ago in a forest, some animals were resting under a tree after a long day, and their stomachs were also full because they had had their meal. Those animals were very tired that they did not want any disturbance. But suddenly, Hare came jumping up and down, singing his songs joyfully. And the animals were wondering, why is Hare coming here to disturb us and make noise? But Hare shouted, I am the fastest animal in the whole world. I'm the fastest animal in this forest. Nobody can defeat me. Ha ha ha! They all had a laugh. So they started checking who is that laughing. It was Mr. Tortoise. I want a race with you, Mr. Hare. I want to challenge you, and I think I can win this race. Mr. Hare asked him, Are you sure, Tortoise, you're going to win? I don't want you to humiliate yourself. Just stop asking for that race. But Mr. Tortoise said, I want it tomorrow. Hare said, It's okay, let's do it. The following day, all the animals gathered ready to see this big race. So Mr. Tortoise and Mr. Hare went on the starting line, and all the animals were cheering, Hare, Hare, because they know Hare will win this race, because Mr. Tortoise is very slow. So Mr. Elephant said, On your marks, get set. He blew the whistle. Mr. Hare moved very fast. He started running very fast that you could barely see him. Nobody would see him passing because he was as fast as lightning. And Mr. Tortoise was here going very slowly. Nobody was cheering him because he's very slow. So when Mr. Hare was running, he looked behind and he did not see Mr. Tortoise anywhere. And when he looked in front, he saw the finishing line is almost there. So he decided, I can take a rest. Furthermore, Mr. Tortoise will never win. I will win this race because I'm fast. So he went, slept on a rock, and took a deep nap. And he started snoring and snoring. On the other hand, Mr. Tortoise did not give up. He did not take a rest. He continued with his race. He continued, and nobody was cheering him. He continued and continued until he came and passed Mr. Hare because Mr. Hare was sleeping. Mr. Tortoise did not wake him because if he dared to wake him, Mr. Hare would win the race. Then everybody was shouting, Tortoise, 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 because Tortoise was almost winning the race. Mr. Hare, as he was sleeping, he heard those noises. And he woke up and he was shocked to see that Mr. Tortoise was almost winning this race. So he woke up and dusted himself and moved very fast so that hoping that he can pass Mr. Tortoise. So Mr. Tortoise looked back and saw that Mr. Hare has woken up. So what does he do? He has to push himself harder so that Mr. Hare does not pass him. He went close to the finishing line. He went closer and closer. Mr. Hare also was approaching very fast. So what Mr. Tortoise did, when he reached to the finishing line, he used his head and his shoulders to push onto the finishing line so that he can be the first one. And that is how he won the race. Mr. Hare came very angry and sad, crying, asking his friends, what happened? Did Mr. Tortoise cheat? No, he did not cheat because he did not quit. He did not sleep like you slept. And Mr. Tortoise, that's why he won the race. Because he was brave enough to take that race with Mr. Hare. That is the end of my story, but it has some moral teachings. It's telling us that we should always be brave and we should never quit. Like Mr. Tortoise. Mr. Tortoise never quit. He made sure that he reached to the finishing line. And that is how Mr. Tortoise was being celebrated by all the animals. All the animals started loving him because he was brave. On the other hand, Mr. Hare, he was never cheered because he was always proud and proud and proud of himself. Always be like Mr. Tortoise because pride comes before a fall. That is the end of my story. I hope you enjoyed. Goodbye. See you later.